From the Smith Center in Chapel Hills is TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and joining me, as he always does, our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And AJ, we're here on the Smith Center court following Carolina's 83-67. I almost butchered that one off gate. Can't even talk already. Season opening win over Loyola, Maryland. Good win for the Tar Heels, you know. It's the first game of the season. First game of the basketball game of the season for us as well, as you can tell.
Real game.
So I can barely get my words out over here, but we're going to power through and keep going. AJ, I think there's a lot of things we got to talk about. Obviously, Hubert Davis' first game in charge. We'll get onto that a little bit later down the line, but I want to start with Brady Manek, led the Tar Heels. Didn't lead the Tar Heels tonight. Had 20 points tonight, first game in a Carolina uniform. Really impressive what I saw from Brady Manek, the Oklahoma transfer. I thought he got it done all over the court. We saw what he could do. Hit the first shot of the Hubert Davis era as well. A big three for him to get things going. Saw what he can do from the outside. Saw him make some nice moves down low as well. Did some nice things on the defensive end. So let's start with Brady Manek, because for me, he was a big plus for this team and really impressive debut for him.
When the great David Sisk and I were doing individual player preview podcasts leading up to the season, we actually spent a little bit of time talking about Brady Manek's use of the pivot foot.
I love it.
And it's such an essential part of the game, but no one ever talks about it. But you saw tonight.
Yeah.
A guy who knows how to use his pivot foot, a guy who knows how to pump fake, a guy who knows how to head fake, a guy who knows how to go up and under, a guy who knows how to get his defender on the hip, a guy who can seal and get in front of his defender, get a little bit of space. You saw Brady Manek do all those textbook things that nobody talked about in April when he popped for North Carolina. We decided he was leaving. He had 4 years at Oklahoma. He got in the portal. Hubert Davis called him. He's going to be a Tar Heel. Everybody said, "Oh my God, this guy's an incredible three-point shooter," including us.
Yeah.
Then I started watching film, talked to some people who covered Oklahoma, and after they were critical of his defense, they did say some things about he's got some decent moves down low. What we saw in the exhibition Friday night, last Friday night, and what we saw tonight was a guy who's got more than decent moves. He's got an array. One of the sequences that really kind of stood out to me tonight was in the second half. There was a loose ball in the lane. He picked it up, and we talked to Caleb Love Friday night about how Brady's always ready to score when he gets the ball. Well, he picked up a loose ball, went right up, scored about a 4-footer swish, nice little touch, which Kerwin Walton talked about tonight. So he's got an incredible touch around the basket. Went down the other end. His guy gets the ball in the lower block, and Brady draws a charge on him on a lower block move. So he's doing stuff that nobody talked about in April. Nobody talked about in May, June, July, and so on. And I asked Hubert about his array last Friday night, and he talked about it and said, "Look, this guy's got a lot of game." Kerwin Walton, like I said a second ago, he said, "This guy's got a lot of game." We've now seen him twice in actual games. One was an exhibition, and tonight was real, where he showed a lot of game. He scored 20 points and had 1 3.
It's not what a lot of us expected, bro.
I combed over every game he played at Oklahoma, the box score, watched a lot of video and that kind of thing. Usually when he went off for 20, he was popping a few threes. And I asked him tonight, does the way that Carolina's playing, their approach offensively, did that allow more of the variances in your game to come out? And he said, absolutely. So maybe it was just the way Oklahoma played, and the way North Carolina plays gives him room to roam, and he's not facing double teams. He's not doing a pump fake or a pivot, a drop step or something like that and going into another defender. It's just one guy. And he's able to get the shot over him and score, and we saw that tonight. I really like his game.
Me too,
The whole Teen Wolf thing is going to take off. People are going Larry Bird. I say, no, guys, this is Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf is more fun.
100%.
And it's going to be more fun to have this. But you know what? Really good basketball player. He's here. He's on a business mission. He's on a mission to do something and be a player he hadn't been before. And he's been a very good player before. And we just saw a lot of game tonight from him. I think North Carolina fans are going to love this dude. And it's not just scoring. He showed he could defend. He forced a couple of missed shots tonight. I liked a lot of what I saw from his game.
Yeah, trust me, I'm a big proponent of the Larry Bird comparison, but I do like the Teen Wolf. AJ brought that up to me today.
That's because he kind of looks like him in the face, but when he's got the beard, we can't see that. We can't see those features. I'm digging the beard. I may grow one out too. You're on your way. You always had that.
We got a similar red beard. I think Manek might have
it would take me 3 lifetimes to grow a beard as long as Brady.
Probably me too. I've tried to grow it out like his, and it just doesn't happen. You guys don't want to see that either, so I'll keep it.
My wife would boot me out of the house.
I think my girlfriend would probably do the same. So let's move on to the second thing I want to talk about. Caleb Love, led the Darkness tonight, 22 points. Big game from him. I think we talked about it. We were sitting up there on the concourse together during the game in the press area, and we were kind of talking about it back and forth, and looked more confident, looked more, I don't know if I guess sure of himself and confident kind of fall in the same line, but energetic. We saw it in spurts last year with Caleb Love. I'm thinking of the Duke game where in Durham last year, where a lot of emotion came out of Caleb Love when he made plays. We saw that tonight early on from the first couple of plays that he made. Played with a lot of emotion, played with a lot of fire, looked a lot more confident, a little bit more sure of himself in this team. So really good performance from Caleb Love, and if they can keep getting similar performances from Caleb Love than they got tonight, I mean, this team's going to be set, because when he's on like that, he's a really good player.
He played with vitality right out of the gate.
I like that word.
And he kept it going. The play I loved, and I tweeted about it, and I actually put it in as I'm building my 5 takeaways during the course of the game. There was a sequence, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes into the second half, and he got the ball, he got the ball just past the half court, I think, and he went toward it down the middle of the lane, left-hand dribble, got the defender on his side, and went up with the left-hand layup, scored, drew the foul, crashed to the ground, and kind of did the fanny slide with the legs out, and he's pumping his fist and he's screaming.
That was a big-time play.
I never saw that last year.
No, definitely not.
I never saw it. And he wasn't excited because he scored. That excitement we saw there was just part of the ensemble tonight. I mean, he was excited when other guys scored. The fisters, the gestures, the going to teammates and just being more vocal with them. We were told for the last couple of months that these are the things that Caleb recognized he needed to do more of. But it has to be natural.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't force that kind of stuff. You can't force vitality in that sense. When it's not just your play, but it's in how you handle your play, how you respond to your play. That was all very, very real that we saw tonight. And we saw a guy who played under control. So he's learned how to play with tremendous energy, but also be under control.
Yeah, there's a big difference. Yeah, there's a big difference.
He didn't have any turnovers, and there was a sequence, and this is in my 5 takeaways, so I'm giving that away.
Go check that out. Check that out.
There was a sequence tonight where he got the ball. He just crossed half-court line. He got the ball going right toward the Carolina bench. It was in the second half. And Brady Manek kind of slipped by, and about the point when Brady was crossing the free throw line a year ago, Caleb would have thrown a bounce pass. He didn't. Caleb swung it to the top of the key. I think it was RJ or Leaky. It was Leaky. And Brady, in the meantime, got down the block, posted, sealed his guy, and got position. The ball found him.
Yep.
He didn't score on that play, but the beauty of this was Caleb allowing the play to work itself out.
Instead of trying to
Don't force that play. Let it work itself out. Trust your teammates. Trust the situation. Trust the movement. And they got the shot that they wanted. Brady didn't convert it, but that's something I'm sure they'll point out on film. Say that's exactly what we're talking about. That was a decision he made to not do something, and it worked out. So. One game in, we're not going to say that he's a completely different player from last year, but tonight, and if you go back to the exhibition game, we have a lot of evidence to support the theory, the belief that he probably is a much different player, and this is probably going to continue. No turnovers. Yes. 13 shots, led the team with 22 points, played 31 minutes, had the ball in his hands a lot. He was running the point most of the time. No turnovers. And that decision right there means that a lot has been learned. And Caleb told us a couple of times during the last 6 weeks that he watched a ton of film of his mistakes, and that was his main point of emphasis. Looked pretty good tonight. Yeah,
it did. I was really impressed with Caleb, really impressed with Brady Manek as well. And I guess we got to talk about Hubert Davis, right?
Yeah, might as well talk about Hubert.
Not like
kind of a newsworthy thing.
Yeah, probably a newsworthy topic to hit on. Obviously, his first game as the head coach of this program, obviously the exhibition game. This is the real official first game for Hubert Davis, first win for him as well. I mean, it was cool. I mean, this isn't a criticism of anything at all, but I mentioned this to you, it wasn't as big of a spectacle maybe as I expected. It wasn't a packed Smith Center sold out to the rafters.
Disappointing crowd, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. And that's
very disappointing.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised that there wasn't more people here. I was actually on the court doing a video. You can see it in our pregame Sights and Sounds video on our YouTube channel. I'm plugging that in as well. Of Hubert coming out of the locker room, and I really expected a big standing ovation. He got it. I mean, it was an ovation, but it wasn't, like I said, as big of a spectacle, as big of a moment as I maybe thought it would be. 6 months ago when he took the job or something like that.
It was a little overshadowed because there's an MC here now. And he was kind of yelling, so nobody really knew for sure. And I'm not criticizing him. It's just that, look, they're doing a lot of new stuff right now.
Very new.
So they got a lot of things ironed out. But I agree with you, and maybe that's the way Hubert wanted it. Maybe it's better for him to walk on the court and coach your team. He has deflected a lot of that stuff in recent weeks, and I asked him tonight, are you glad that you got this out of the way?
I like that question, by the way. We're
not going to ask you, I said, until at some point we're going to ask you basketball questions tonight. I don't even know if he got a basketball question tonight.
Not really. I don't know.
I texted Dean, I said, come to the video, let me know, because I might want to use it in my takeaways. And he actually talked about hoops.
I think someone asked him about Manek, but that was about as tight as it got to basketball.
Maybe so, yeah. And I've already got a lot of Manek stuff for tonight.
Yeah, we didn't really do that one.
I asked him, are you kind of glad that that's over and it's all going to be hoop stuff from now on? And it kind of surprised me. He didn't say, yes, I'm glad. Now it's totally basketball. He actually kind of reverted.
Yeah, put it back on you.
And said, I actually don't mind it. I know you guys are asking why you're asking a question. You have a job to do. It's okay. So I think he enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think what helped him enjoy it was what he told us afterward. When he went back in the tunnel, and Pete Chilcutt was there. He was his roommate in college. Pete's a phenomenal player back here at Carolina. Played a long time in the NBA. Lives out in California, so he made the cross-country trip.
Big time trip, yeah.
Linda Woods, who was a secretary for Dean and for Coach Guthridge. She was here, and she was here when Hubert was in school.
I actually saw that moment too when he talked about being back.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, in the locker room right before they came. I don't think I got it on camera. You might be able to see a little bit, but yeah, I actually did see that moment. That was a pretty cool moment to see.
Well, Hubert's mom passed when he was young.
Yeah, when he was young.
So when he came here, he didn't have a mom anymore. She wasn't alive, and Linda Woods. And I've talked to a lot of players. And, there are people that think Linda Wood should have a banner hanging up.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious.
We need a petition for that, right?
I'm dead serious. I've had former players that played for Dean say, yes, she should.
Yeah.
Maybe Hubert will be a proponent of that moving forward. Her name is actually going to be out there because he spoke so beautifully about her and so beautifully about that exchange and what that meant to him. So I think once the game was over, he allowed himself to enjoy it. He allowed himself to fully embrace what this whole experience was. I can kind of understand. I talked to a few people today before the game. I can kind of understand why he didn't want to.
Yeah.
Just deflected. Look, this guy played here for 4 years. He took the court as a starter in a Final Four.
It's nothing.
You got to deflect stuff, right? You played in the NBA for 12 years. You got to be on the grinder, put your rhino horns on, and march forward, deflect stuff.
I've been assistant here for a while as well.
Even at ESPN, you've got to stay on point. You got dudes talking to you in the ears, and you got to stay on point with stuff. So he knows how to do that. He's been deflecting for years and staying so narrowly focused. I think that he was that tonight. So I'm glad he actually told us some of those stories. And I'm also glad it's behind us now.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's totally about basketball. They got Brown Friday. They go to Charleston next week. And then guess what? They got Purdue up in the Mohegan Sun and then either Tennessee or Villanova. So they'll learn a lot. And at that point, Hubert's story isn't going to matter anymore. What's going to matter is what this club's doing on the glass. They didn't rebound great tonight. They had some so-so defensive stretches and all that stuff. So we'll talk a lot more about that. He'll be asked a lot more questions about that stuff moving forward. But it was pretty cool to be here tonight.
Definitely.
It was actually very cool to be here tonight. I've been in a few. Look, going back to 1961, this program has had a Hall of Famer running it for 54 of the 60 years.
Wow, it's hard to believe, man.
All right, and that's pretty amazing. And Coach Guthridge, Bill Guthridge is an assistant coach's Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Matt Doherty's 3 years. So this is really different on a multiple levels here. And his team got a win. They did some nice things. They showed there's plenty to work on. He's going to dial it up and get into that stuff. And we'll get to see him here in 2 nights again. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I was here. I think Hubert is a tremendous ambassador for this program and all that it means. And he can now best serve that, not by answering questions about it, by putting a team on the floor that wins a lot of games. And based on what I've seen in a practice we attended, late night, the exhibition game, and tonight, there are a lot of things to like about the potential of this team. It's not there now. It's not going to be there on December, what's today, the 9th? On December 9th, probably not on January 9th, but by the time February 9th comes, it's going to be a good team. They got a lot of workable parts, and if Hubert is part Dean Smith and part Roy Williams and part Bill Guthridge, they will all come together. There'll be a machine at some point. This club can be very, very good down the road.
Definitely, I agree. I'm really impressed with some of the pieces we saw tonight. I know it's only the first game, and it was an exhibition game too, but I think you can see the potential that this team has.
Do you like how I weaved hoops into the Hubert part?
I love it, man. That's A1 stuff from you right there, AJ. In the cold too. It's cold right here.
Yeah, this is like almost like it was on the football field.
Yeah, I mean, you think we're being funny, but we're really not.
It's cold.
Yeah, my hands are.
I'm gonna put my hands in my pocket.
My hands are cold. They're getting.
I gotta break out the sports coat for the Dino.
Might be colder in here than it is outside. We'll find out here in a little bit, but that'll do it from us. For us from the Smith Center. Carolina getting the 83-67 season opening win over Loyola of Maryland. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. As always, guys, make sure you keep it locked to TarLillustrated.com for all your post-game coverage. Big week. Football coming up. Another basketball game coming up. A lot going on over here at TarLillustrated.com.
Pittsburgh in 48 hours.
Yeah, man.
Watching a 97-85 football game.
Might be a higher scoring game than what we saw in basketball today, if we're being honest. Based on what we've seen over the past 3 weeks, that's not an unnecessary shot. That is could happen. Let's keep it honest, guys.
Please no. I don't want a 5-hour football game.
Yeah, I need a 3-hour 24 to 20
I
football
have a
game.
5:40 a.m. flight Friday morning. I don't want to miss it because
the game went 6 hours.
yards of offense.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but keep it locked to TarLillustrated.com for all your coverage leading up to those games, all your coverage after this one. Keep it locked to the YouTube channel as well. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell as always, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.